What up, world? It's your boy Chuck with Ill, aka Charles Brown, back again with another What Talking Facts. But first, let me ask you, are you good? Good. All right, man. If you're anything like me, you a Star Wars fan, you are a Star Wars head, you are a Star Wars geek, for lack of a better word. Not Star Trek, Star Wars. I watch Star Trek too. I love Star Trek, and they two different things. Stop comparing the two. They ain't nothing like each other. Stop. Let it go. Star Wars, the greatest. I can't even say trilogy because this is not. What is it now? It's like, what did you call this now at this point? A collection of movies? Like, story. We're going to go with Star Wars, the greatest story ever told. It is a fact. But what is not a fact is, did we get what we deserved? Did we get what we deserved? As far as the story ending the way it did, as far as George Lucas's goal, was that accomplished? Did we get what we needed to get as Star Wars fans? This is what I want to say. First of all, I'm old, bro. I was in the theater. I cannot stress this enough. I was in the theater watching the original Star Wars with Luke, Laura. Luke. I'm talking about General Hospital. Luke, Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, 3PO, R2D2, Darth Vader. I was in the original theater. I watched Star Wars, quote unquote, A New Hope. No one called it that, but Star Wars, A New Hope. I watched the second one, The Empire Strikes Back, which was freaking awesome. If you watched that in I believe, what was it, 80? Freaking stunning. We used to have to wait 3 years for a movie. 2-3 years for a movie. The next chapter of these movies. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like the Avengers that every damn year they got another one. But we used to have to wait a lot. So, the third one, Return of the Jedi, freaking classic. And I guarantee you, if you had Twitter, Instagram, and all these people who think they know so much, that's the problem right now. Everyone knows they know too much, right? They're digging into these stories. They're reading every book that comes out attached to the story, attached to the movie, and they're telling you stuff for 4 galaxies down to what happened over here, there, and they get so smart at this stuff and snarky that you can't impress them with anything no more. You understand? If people had Twitter, Instagram, they would have been dogging all 3 of those movies. Fact. They would have been trashing 1, 2, and 3. By the time we would have got to 3, they would have made it so campy, we wouldn't even have had the following 6 that we had. We would not have got all that because they would have killed it by the 3rd movie with all of the opinions and all of the critics and all the critiques and all the spoiler movies and the breakdown videos, spoiler videos, breakdown videos, videos telling you why it sucked, all this stuff. This is a horrible time to be a Star Wars fan. And I get it, right? I understand. I watched this new and the final Star Wars. We all were upset with Jar Jar Binks before, the middle trilogy that George Lucas, when he came back, we were like blown away that he was coming back. We thought it was over. We freaking peed our pants. We was out of our minds that this was happening. And then we got the little Anakin, who, even as a child actor, he wasn't good. Wooden is just not good. And I still enjoyed those movies in the theater because those are movies to watch in the theater. They're supposed to be big, flashy, obnoxious. They're supposed to be unbelievable, unrealistic. If you fed into the fact that Luke could stretch his hand out, right, and pull a lightsaber, what is that? But you rolled with it, right? That he could stretch his hand out and mentally pull that to himself right there. You have given up your right to ask for realism in these movies. You have suspended your belief enough that this kid who don't even know what he's doing could just reach his fingers out and draw the lightsaber and grab it and start fighting with it. So right there, anything after that, you gotta accept it. You have to accept it. You cannot just be like, well, that's real, but this is not. And that doesn't make sense, but this does. This is what it is, bro. J.J. Abrams is doing the best he can do with this because you can't please all these people. Understand? So I'm going to talk about what I feel is going on. So we get too much information. We know that a person has dropped out the movie before we even know what the movie's about. We know who's going to be the director. We know who's the writers. We know who's the two guys from Game of Thrones are supposed to be directing this movie. And they backed out. It would have been better had no one known what was going on with the movie. We wouldn't have known anyone backed out. We wouldn't know. This is what I'm saying is it's too much. George Lucas sold this thing to Disney partly out of pressure because people are not happy with what he's writing. So they're giving him the business. So he's like, you know what? I'm all set with this. And it's so much money to be made. Let's go get your paper. Let's go. But now you got J.J. Abrams and all these people, true fans. J.J. Abrams has made some great work. But with these type of fans, there is no winning, right? There is no winning with this crowd. I saw the first one. J.J. Abrams did the what was it? Revenge of the Sith or something like that. Something like that. I watched that one. Which one? The one with so the one, oh no, all right, I'm bugging. So the one with when we first got Rey and this whole little cast of people. The thing is, it was new as far as what they were doing. This was uncharted. They brought us a whole new story. They tied it in. You know, you had your hints of Luke and you had, your hints of Vader. You had this and that, but for the most part, this girl, Rey, was a new character. They developed her. I mean, they could have did a little more development, but they developed her from nothing, right? And we got her, we got Finn, we got the other guy. Great new characters. You had a lot to play with. You had a lot to latch onto. It was heartfelt and it was funny at the same time. They introduced Rose, all these different people, right? They introduced quite a few bad guys, just quote unquote bad guys, just different. This Kylo Ren, this guy's out of nowhere. This is new stuff because it's supposed to be in the future, right? We got all that, and it was, in my opinion, that the first one of the J.J. Abrams era was good to me. Now, if I went online, I was supposed to say it was I was supposed to say it was garbage, right? Because if you didn't, then you had 14-year-olds and 45-year-olds at the same time coming into your timeline trying to tell you why it sucked. Trying to tell me why my movie sucked. I am a Star Wars fan. I get it. If you don't get it and you think it's all of this super scientific, all of this lineage and all this stuff has to line up the way you say it's going to line up, then you don't get Star Wars. Star Wars is campy, bruh. Star Wars is ridiculous. Weird creatures. Weird scenarios that are silly. They don't make no sense. But it's for the screen. It's to build up the anticipation of will they win or will they lose. Did they drop the ball? Of course. Quite a few times. This new movie dropped the ball quite a few times, but I still enjoyed the movie. You understand? But the amount of criticism from supposedly Star Wars fans, my opinion, if you're 20 or 24 or something, you're not I can't respect your opinion. Just, I'm sorry, bro. Because you don't understand what this is. You're born in an era where everything is already worked out. All the kinks have been worked out. You, you're in the Marvel era when they worked out Marvel. I'm from the era when the Marvel movies didn't even make any. They were stupid. Marvel TV shows were horrible. They were the worst shit on TV. I'm from that era where it was garbage. Everything from the best show was Spider-Man cartoon, and that was from like 1969 or something. Like, Marvel was terrible, but you're in an era where they tinkered with everything. The Iron Man 1, 2, and 3, and everything's perfect. Now it's, we all know what it's supposed to be like. It's a formula. Da, 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 da. So you're judging based on that. I sat down when no one knew what it was about. Star Wars, there was no precedent to this. Young space fighters, what appeared to be a love triangle. Farm boy goes and saves the galaxy. Like, this was never done before. This was never done. Everything was ridiculous. Everything it made no sense. Why are these guys walking around in these outfits calling themselves stormtroopers? They look identical to you. You can't tell one from the other. Why is this a thing? Everything about it was ridiculous. But we loved it for that reason. But now you guys are so nitpicky, and you guys are you're so smart. You grew up watching YouTube. Everything is explained to you on YouTube. You don't need to think anymore. You can just go click on YouTube, and the guy will talk for 10 minutes and tell you why it was great, or tell you why it sucked, or tell you why it made no sense, or tell you what the alternative ending should have been. So now we don't even have the fantasy anymore. You're not going to Star Wars for the fantasy anymore. You're going to Star Wars to critique the storyline and to break down what didn't make sense to you and why it sucked. You're there to make the shit suck. You are there to literally critique it and say why it sucked, instead of rolling with it. Of course, it doesn't make sense why the fleet, this whole fleet, all of them have, the Star Destroyers all have planet-destroying guns on the ship now, right? Why would that even be possible? Why would that be possible? But then you didn't ask yourself, how was it possible in the first place? Right? How was the Death Star possible in the first place? How was it possible that you could shoot a beam from a ship and destroy? Do you know how big a planet is? Do you have any idea? We fed into it. We believed that they could shoot this thing and blow up a whole planet. So why would you not believe that it's 30 years later and you don't think they would be able to micro, you know what I'm saying? They can shrink that down to make more of them. They do that with everything. Your iPhone, that wasn't like that before. 30 years later, it's going to be different. So with that being said, we need to understand that this is fantasy. This is supposed to be something that you just take for what it is. Yes, some of the stuff not going to make no sense, but it's supposed to be fantasy. The little parts you don't like, it is what it is. It don't mean the whole movie sucks. You didn't like when George Lucas was writing it. You didn't like when this guy's writing, that guy. You don't like nothing. No one likes anything. So you know what? I'm going to tell you what to do. You wait for the next Avengers, and that'll give you your fix or what have you. Me, I'm a Star Wars fan. I love the Avengers too, but I'm a Star Wars fan, and I get it. It's fantasy. It's not supposed to be Michael Eric Dyson and you figuring out everything. Everything makes sense, and you know what I'm saying? It's not supposed to be that. This is fantasy for children and the young at heart. And we're going to accept that there's a whole fleet that can't get through the fog because there's one antenna here that Poe can destroy and the whole thing is done. We need to just accept that. That's what it is in the universe. Yes, they have a magic coin that you stick in the ship, and now we can get through the entire Empire's forces. That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's why we go to the movies. So, is Star Wars trash? Did it suck? No, it's not trash. And no, it didn't suck. It had its moments, but it is what it is. Accept it. My name is Chuck with Gills, a.k.a. Charles Brown. Peace out. Go to the movies and have fun, man. I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.